So
All
that's
right, here we are. Here we are live. Back in. Myself is Peter Lount. I've got Sebastian Carrig with me. Sebastian, welcome.
Peter. Good to be back.
Yeah. So this week we're going to talk about. It's all the topic of reasons why you wouldn't get life insurance. So
Mhm.
talk. The topic today is, well, they have alternative financial planning strategies in place, and so maybe we'll talk about that. What would those options be instead of life insurance? Could be they're working with a it could be doing it themselves, it could be working with a financial planner, right, to that kind of detail. Um, so but often there is a whole spectrum of areas you could go with. This could be talk specifics. If you're working with a planner, they'll probably have you in some form of equities, some fixed income,
Right.
depending where you are in the lifespan of your journey, financial journey. And then we add in, layer in with that is, are they sitting in a government qualified plan? So TFSA,
Right.
RSP, um,
Mhm.
those types of things are kind of all part and parcel of it. They may have real estate on the side.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
they have a business that, so each of these things will have certain qualities. One is, certain qualities in terms of guarantees of growth, of liquidity. Those are things I kind of think of. And then, importantly, which, yeah, I think it is covered by a lot of people, but maybe can be a missed opportunity, is looking at how do we navigate the taxes, right? It's the build, the build, the build, but how do you, when things are transferred or they're extinguished or they're melted down, how are you dealing with that? I don't know. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. And first thing that kind of jumps into my mind is like if you're using a planner, that's great. Oftentimes, depending on how old you are, it would dictate what kind of investment choices you're making. So I'll give an example. If you're younger, you've got a long time horizon, you're probably more aggressive kind of portfolio. And if you're older, more conservative portfolio, right?
Mm.
So liquidating to take care of your final expenses, yeah, you've got the resources, but what's the cost? And is it the optimal time? It's almost like real estate. Is it the optimal time to liquidate this investment? Because, well, if you pass away, all of it's going to be liquidated.
Well, the part you brought up, I think last week, was like, okay, you can just liquidate these, but if it comes to something like real estate, which asset are you going to extinguish or are you going to sell in order to pay this tax bill?
Yeah, and 100% because if we look at what's happening in the market right now, we can only talk in generalities. We're not talking in
Right.
specifics, and we're not giving advice that you can take to the bank. It's just generalized to open that conversation. So, yeah, you've got some real estate portfolios, and you're going to decide which one do I sell to take care of my estate needs. Is it the best performing? Is it the lowest performing? Is it the best market? Right now, it seems that we're in this flux with real estate. Uh, I'm hearing things about receiverships with the condo projects in Toronto. You've never heard of that in quite a long time, right?
Right.
And then even new bills, like up here in Innisfil. I was talking to the assistant mayor, and he's saying that yeah, we've got all these big plans here, but things are a little bit scaled back because in order to start, they need to sell a certain percentage of these plans to break ground, and so back to that point, like when is the optimal time and is it the right time? It's almost like you have to time your death.
Yeah, you can't really, like, I mean, in general, you can't really plan timing on that, right? It just,
Yeah.
for 99.9% of people, that is not something that you have any type of control over. And so when that happens, what are the repercussions of that financially? And I think the big thing that we focus on, I'm going to say, not that it's a missed opportunity by other pieces, but maybe just not as much focus on it as like how much are you paying at the end? What is that deemed disposition? The
That's
day
right.
you pass, there's going to be a big tax bill. Spouse to spouse, there's not, there's going to be able to transition a lot.
Mhm.
But when you start getting into anything else generationally, then you're going to have to, there's going to be a bill, right?
Yeah, and you know what? We always talk about this rollover provision if you're married, that you've got this opportunity to kind of push it out again. But if you think about this, and I don't know about everyone's situation, but usually if one spouse is no longer here, and let's say it's the one that's bringing in the revenue, now the revenue stops, or a portion of that revenue stops. What impact is it on their lifestyle, on everything that they've built together?
Yeah, for sure. And then, if you are selling assets, yeah, like that's the other piece. Like you are like, the point of selling assets, you may have now extinguished a revenue stream, right? You may have got the cash to pay taxes, and hopefully there's more left over beyond that too. There usually should be, but how long is that going to last for?
Yeah. And we talked about this before, and you keep reminding me about this one. Here is that story of, you've got someone who's doing super well in their business, and they pass on. Maybe the spouse doesn't have that skill set. Now, what impact would it have with banking relationships, with customers, with employees? Like, there's so much in there that to really unpack.
Yeah. And so I think, a couple of things that I take from these strategies are, um, as one is, we talk about what we focus on is the life insurance piece of it.
Mhm.
Why would you not add it into the plan? As opposed to like, we're not saying don't take all your money and move it over to this asset class. Add it in because it complements everything you've already built, right?
Yeah, and at the you could just do it at the lowest cost, which is term
Mm.
coverage. At least you have that, and then you lock in that ability to convert to a a product that's permanent.
Yeah. It's a pie. Just pick a slice that makes sense to you at the time. And yeah, absolutely. There's lots of ways that this can go, options you can do to put yourself in control to really complement what you're doing financially. The other piece too is, in itself, it is not the answer. Life insurance to resolve some of those issues is also make sure you're working with, getting the proper legal advice too to make sure that the estate plan is in place to make sure that, um, whatever it is being passed down is not just like a lottery ticket being passed down. It's something that has a plan that maximizes or just puts them in control in terms of what you want to do in the future. And to me, if I'm passing it allows me an opportunity to collaborate with future generations as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's the kind of the point of the day is we keep rolling down this list of why people wouldn't want it because they got something in place. Today is yeah, like continue if you've been successful in what you're doing, continue to do it, but look at potentially complementing it with something that can help seal in everything you've done, right? Put you in control of those outcomes because um, no one is a lease in life. We don't know when that's going to happen. So let's make sure that what we built has a smooth landing. Let's say.
Yeah, and you bring up the erosion part. Yeah, erosion on taxes, erosion when the key partner in let's say it's husband and wife or partners, that key individual is no longer here. We don't even think about, or sometimes we don't even think about that impact of reducing the revenue coming in can be as significant as the tax erosion piece. So when you take a look at that compounding on itself, the way I look at it, life insurance gives you a lifesaver, and that lifesaver, whether you want a small lifesaver or a big lifesaver, because you need to have some time to understand what's going on and make all the changes that you need to make. for yourselves and your family.
Yeah, not be at a point of having to make a decision, having time to not let emotions dictate decisions. You have time to
Yeah.
make a the proper decision for the future. So, yeah, no, this is good. Well, thank you again, Sebastian. Any closing words, and how can people connect with you?
Yeah, no, great topic. And I'm just thinking of back to this morning when we had one of the best, what I consider one of the best tax and estate lawyers in the country, McNulty, of course, is work with the right advisors when you're structuring it. If it's simple term, yeah, you may just, use an advisor that is just capable of a certain amount. But if you're a business owner, you need to seek quality advice. Look at those that are well connected, that have the resources to bring in a team, an advisor just like Peter, and there's many advisors who are like that. But I say make sure you're choosing an advisor that's going to help you down that road. So that's probably, and I'm taking it back from this morning.
Yeah, no, it's great. I like the point I was well taken from this morning was I don't work by myself. I work with a team. Anything that I bring forward is got to be with the team, because I'm not going to get that to the depth of, tax code and all that someone like Brian would understand best. These are all great things that we build, but make sure that we have a good understanding, or work with someone who can make sure that we can create a clear path for what we intended. So, yeah. So, Sebastian, your best way to reach you is through
LinkedIn or scarag@equitable.ca.
Awesome. Okay. And I'm Peter. You can reach me the same way through LinkedIn or peter@returnonlife.ca. Till next week, Sebastian, thanks again.
Take care, Peter.
Yeah. See you.